Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's another submarine. It's the AquaRobotMan NEMO. This is a 4K underwater robot, submarine, camera, whatever you want to call it. And it's another one in the many new submarines that are coming out on the market right now. We're going to put this one through the test. I have this one as a demo unit, so we're going to go through all the functions. In this video, we're just going to unbox it and see what it looks like on the display. Further videos to come, we're going to go in depth on an ocean dive, possibly a freshwater dive, and also maybe a night dive and see how those lights work underwater at night. So stay tuned for the unboxing and let's get started with the NEMO. Okay, so this one is pretty cool looking. As you can see, we have a cool tether there. There's the submarine itself. And here is a backpack. So these guys really have gone the extra mile in making sure this thing was pretty finished as far as what you get in the box. Here is a battery charger, it looks like. A wall charger. We've got some O-rings. Oh, cool. Look at these. So we've got some filters here, red filters of all different shades. They're giving us also in the box. Not sure what this is, but we'll find out in a sec. Kind of a reel handle, some screws, and this is either the battery or an extra battery. Cool. So as you can see, guys, that's basically everything in the box. Here is the wall plug. I'm in the US, so I have a US wall plug. This plugs into the wall brick. And if we peel this off, we have a nice shiny, well done looking wall brick here. Maybe I'll just peel this side off too. And that's how we're charging the peripherals. This is going to be kind of our charging apparatus as well. So we take the plug from the wall brick, we plug it into here. And so this is charging with the 2 prongs right here. Just slides in, that charges there. And check this out. This guy here, we pop open this port, and this is where we're charging the main sub battery, so we can charge them both at the same time. So a pretty interesting and looks like pretty useful way of doing it. Anyway, so these guys kind of got me excited. You can see that we have 3 different shades of filters here. There is kind of a purple actually, and then this is a dark red filter, and then this is kind of a light red or pink filter here on the left. So looks like those are just going to somehow go on the front of the camera. We're going to have to figure that out in just a second. Let's go ahead and pull the spool or buoy, wireless module, whatever you want to call it. Not really a buoy because this is not floating in the water, but remember this guy? This is the handle that we got in the box. This handle just looks like it screws right on here. It was just unscrewed for shipping purposes. And that's pretty cool. That's going to rotate and make it real easy to reel up. I believe I've got a 100-meter tether here. This sub will go down to 100 meters. So this is how it should be done for companies that are looking at doing some type of submarine spooling system. Look at this thing. They really spent a lot of time. It's not a heavy and bulky metal. It's a very light but durable plastic, and I love the coloring, easy to spot. You can slide the battery for the Wi-Fi right in there. There's how we release the battery power off and on switch. It looks fairly water resistant. Definitely not dunk this in the water, just leave this on the shore, but it looks like it's going to take some splashing. I haven't charged this battery up, but let's just go ahead and plug it in real quick and see how this snaps in. So real simple, just pushing it in. So I'm having to push pretty hard, so I had to give it some force there, and then this clip snapped down. That thing is not coming out even in some bumps and scrapes until you really push that hard. You saw how pretty hardcore that spring loading mechanism was. So I kind of like that, like a cartridge and lock style battery. Pretty darn cool. So all we have, guys, left to plug in is this, and this is pretty interesting. It's just a screw here, a very durable looking screw with a hand screwing mount. So pretty interesting. It looks like there's only 2 little plates for connecting the entire sub up. Anyway, let's pull the sub up front and center and look at the sub for a couple of minutes before we get into anything else. So there's the two high intensity LED lights. There's the camera there. It's going to do 4K in the front. Can't forget the filters, can we? So let's see how these things go on. So the bottom actually has a couple of notches, kind of hard to see, but there are a couple of like spring-loaded little notches there on either side. And so what we want to do is we want to take the bottom. You see how it kind of matches the shape of this D pattern. So we do want to make sure we kind of match that up. And we push the bottom in very hard actually. So we find these little notches, we push down, and then we pop in the top and just kind of wiggle it around until the top goes in. And that thing is not coming off of there, guys. There's no way that's coming off. If we want to take it off, we push down from the top, and you see how it pops the top out. And then once the top's out, we gotta just kind of push the bottom out and take our lens off. They do give us 3 different lenses, and I imagine they've got more. This would be good for blue water where I am in Hawaii. But cool, at least they do give us a 3-pack of filters. That's more than I can say for any other submarine company that I've reviewed yet. So I really like that they do have that going, and a very easily mountable filter at that. Some of the other ones are a little difficult to mount. They have like a screw cap and they have round filters, but I do like this system. Pretty cool. This one's kind of interesting because it has these are aluminum little fins on the bottom. So this is going to make it glide through the water, hopefully good. So really liking the design. This thing is really light without the battery on it, that's for sure. We've got 2 motors on the top, so that's going to be for our pitching and also our vertical ascending and descending into the water. And this is where our tether is going to hook up. So a super simple hookup. Look at this. So gone are the days of us having this cable that's going to be like, you know how kind of like the Gladius drones are up top like this in the center. Check out this really low profile, easy way to do this. So all you're doing is putting this thing on here, and it looks like it snaps in, and then just screwing that hand screw nice and tight. And just look how that is pretty low profile. It's not sticking up anywhere to hit things while you're moving through the ocean or water or wherever you are. But keep in mind, this thing does have these bottom fins. You can see it on the front and the back. So these might get in the way of catching on some things. So we need to be careful going down into coral and stuff. So those are the 2 motors on the top. Check out the side motors. These are the propulsion motors and the turning motors. So these are going to propel it forward and back through the water and also turn it left and right. But it's looking like a pretty darn solid fit and finished drone here. And it's not that large too. It's like the size, honestly, about the size of the Gladius Mini. If you've seen my Gladius Mini series of reviews, it's just around this size. So possibly a good competitor. Of course, the Gladius Mini has more motors. Flipping over to the bottom, and this is where we get a good look at that battery compartment. Speaking of the battery, here it is, and let's see how this thing goes in. So just matching up the ports, nice and simple. Pushing the battery down and in, and all I'm doing is screwing this thing in. Very, very simple. So maybe the only thing with the battery is the fit and finish around the edges. When it does screw all the way in, it just feels a little bit loose around there. Looks like the way they're supporting it here is on only one side, and there's no real notch on the other side to keep that battery from shaking around. So maybe the only con I'm seeing so far is a little bit of a weird insertion and fit and finish on the battery. Anyway guys, there is one more thing that this comes with, and that is the backpack. And that's kind of what makes this thing so cool, is it's got a low profile backpack. Of course, that reel stand is quite big over there, but check out this this backpack. It looks pretty good. It's got AquaRobotMan labeled on top there. We'll just take a quick peek of it here before we go ahead and start that sub up on the cell phone or the tablet, see how it works. So the top here, we've got multiple pockets. That's great. So if you wanted to put in like an iPad or other kind of low profile things, we've got 2 pockets there. This looks like the same size as the actual reel stand, but I don't know if that reel stand is really going to fit in here. Oh, I see. Cool. So it's kind of like a stretched out accordion style. So we have this zipper here, that holds this whole accordion, and we can expand the bag, kind of like some suitcases do. So it looks like that's going to fit in there, and we have a couple of other pockets if we needed to stick some things in. Pockets in the front, a couple pockets inside. So cool, that's for the reel stand. Getting back to the bag, little pockets on the side. I'm liking it for cords and stuff on both sides. We're gonna put in the sub here, nice padding. And then there is one pocket also on top for more cords and peripherals. Flipping it over, and this is where we're gonna put it on our shoulders, of course. Some nice mesh there. I've just gone ahead and put the Nemo in here, and you can see how nice and snug it fits. And keep in mind that some of the pockets are accessed from the inside and the outside. The pocket inside, I have the power cables and stuff in, as well as same thing on the other side. Pretty cool thing they've done here. They do have kind of the similar setup like Chasing Innovations Gladius version 1 and version 2, how they have that separate bag for the reel stand and the actual sub itself. In the reel stand, I went ahead and put the apparatus inside of the bag, and it fits in there really nice and snug. I really like the way they've done this. It looks like it's pretty professional. There we go. So that pops out. You can see that the real grip is there, and that's the one that we need to take off before we zip that up. So what I'll do first is I'll turn on the buoy, and I do want to make sure I have the AquaRobotMan app installed. And you can see it right here on my iPad. It's just called the AquaRobotMan from the App Store. I'm using the iPad Air 2 for this one. So first thing we'll do is we turned on the buoy, and now we'll go ahead and screw this battery in all the way tight. There we go. So did you hear that boot up chime? Okay, so going into the Wi-Fi, and I'm looking for something like AquaRobotMan, and there it is, first thing on the list. It looks like there is no security, so I went ahead and clicked on it, and it is connected. We got a check mark, and we are connected to the AquaRobotMan 08F400. So I'm going to go out of there, and I'm going to launch the AquaRobotMan application. Let's see what happens. So we're greeted with the first screen, and we've got connect to Wi-Fi and Nemo battery loading. Okay, that time, okay, wow, I just pressed the things and it just kind of booted up really quick. It says it's connecting, and then it had another boot up chime, so that was pretty cool. That was like a verification that we're all connected, and we're going right into our FPV, guys. Check that out. So this is the FPV of the sub itself. If I move this around, we can see the lag. So as you can see, I'm moving the sub, and it is kind of on the higher end of lag. We're seeing about, I want to say 300 to 400 milliseconds of lag. So not quite as fast as some of the other subs. We do have the controls on the screen. Keep in mind, guys, that this company is coming out with a physical controller, but right now we can only use it on our smart devices until they come out with that. They will be sending me one pretty soon, and I will do some further tests, of course, with that hardware controller. As you can see up on the top, it's got a controller, a physical controller with a red exclamation point, and that's because we don't have one. So just going over some of the things, we have the sub battery. There's a little sub there icon with the battery, 100%. We have the Wi-Fi reel, which is really looking awesome. I love how it's so integrated back there. You see it in there? There's no extra dongles or anything that you have to worry about. It's all integrated into the reel stand. Really loving that. That's at 48%. And then we have our pitch angle, which is 0. We've got our temperature, 27 degrees Celsius. That's just room temperature here. And our depth with a little anchor. So right now it's 0 meters. So pretty cool, looking good. And then we also have a little compass here. So I'm moving the iPad around, and it looks like the compass is kind of moving to orientate itself kind of how the sub is facing. So kind of interesting. What if we keep the iPad still and we move the sub to the left? You see how it is moving? I can't click on any of these guys up here. Oh wow, okay, clicking on the compass. That started the motors, you hear them? Hear those motors? Down, up, going down and up, turning. So So that's going to turn the head left and right, forward, reverse. And it does sound like it's trying to auto level. You can hear those guys spinning in there, trying to, you see as I move the back up. Now, with this one, we're not going to have any side-to-side stabilization, remember, because it doesn't have any motors laterally, just forward and back. So when we do pitch, you hear it trying to stabilize, forward, pitch up, it's trying to keep itself level as far as forward and back goes. So we're going to have to see how that performs in the water. I am anticipating some side-to-side rock with this one. Everything looks like it's operating correctly. Pushing on the compass, and that disarms it. So that's just our arm and disarm button. Pretty cool. I'm seeing this little arrow here, so if I press it, oh, this is cool. Okay, so we have a little cluster here. We've got a VR mode. Looks like we have a landscape or picture icon. We have a question mark, and then we have a settings. So first thing we'll do is we'll go into this little picture icon, and that's our album. Cool. So you see how we took a few pictures, and that's actually a video. So it's got a real wide angle lens. Look at this. So I'm playing the video. Wow, it does even have some audio. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if it's recording my iPad screen or what, but there was some audio there, so that might be kind of cool. We might have some audio underwater. There was the pictures. They actually look pretty crisp, very high definition picture, even though it's pointing right at the window and kind of washed out. So pretty neat. That's our album we go into, hitting that cluster again. And let's go to the VR. So if you have VR goggles, you can put those on, put your phone in some goggles. Let's go back to 2D. There was a little icon up there. Clicking on this again for this little cluster. Let's go question mark. Oh, cool. So we have a full layout on what all the controls do and what all the icons mean. Cool. So that was, they're calling it handle connection status, which is a physical controller. So they are going to have one. They've told me that it's almost complete. So that will be cool when they send me that. See how that all works. Photo shooting, long video capture, and yeah, so that one was short video capture. It just does little clips. Snorkeling, throttle, push rod. That's kind of interesting what they're naming that. Never heard that before. But they give you a picture of how it looks kind of underwater. So this is the speed switch. So I'm glad I pressed that question mark for help. 1, 2, and 3. So slow, medium, and fast speeds. Easy to follow interface. Let's go ahead and click on these settings and see what we get. Okay, so first thing we're greeted with is calibration. You can see that it's going to adjust, like when you put the thing in the water, you want to make sure you have 0 for your depth right when it's floating on top of the water, so you can calibrate that. We'll click on the camera here. Here's all of our resolution settings. Wow, so we've got video resolution 4K, 30 frames per second, 16:9. I'm clicking on that. We can go 2.7, 1080, all 30, the top 3, and then we can also do 1080 in 120, 720 in 30 frames per second, 16:9. Pretty cool. We're definitely going to be wanting to shoot 4K in the water here in Hawaii, in the ocean. See how that works. Photo pixel, we've got default at 4:3. That's the highest there. And then we can do, if we want to do 16:9, which I like to do, it's going to be a little less, 3840 by 2160. I'm just going to go 16:9. I like to fill up the screen when I do my reviews. So those are all our camera settings, guys. We're going to have to research what that underwater does. This one here, this little icon, it looks like all of our information. 62 gigabytes. Nice. Which is kind of in the firmware line. I'm not sure why that's in the firmware line, but that looks like the storage on the device itself. Internal storage, which should be down there, and the TFT card capacity. It looks like they got these kind of mixed up, so hopefully they can do an update to fix that. Status information, humidity 40. So I'm not sure if it's detecting the humidity in this room or what. That's all we can do in there. And then we'll go down to the people little icon here, and that's a scan QR code to watch more wonderful video. Okay. A little bit limited on the options, but you know, I'm not seeing any imperial or metric type of selection. It looks like all we have is metric for now, and all we can do is calibrate the depth when we need to. So, and we can't change any of the controls. So maybe something they can update to let different people that have like different styles of controls to change those soon in the future. Since we know that the D is now our speed, I just want to test that out really quick. So I'm going to arm it, and if you listen to the forward speed, that's max in D1. And change to D2. Hey, we got a higher sound on the motors in D2. Now let's do D3. Wow, yeah, so that thing is blasting. So we're gonna have some fast moving in D3 there. Okay guys, so we can't forget the lights, can we? I almost forgot, but this thing does have very high intensity LED lights in the front. And to turn these on, when you're booted up and you're in the FPV menu here, all you do is touch the screen and slide right. You see how that's turning those on, and you can see a percentage on the screen there. We're at 50%, and then you might have to go back and swipe up again. So that's 100% in the lights. You can see how incredibly bright that's getting. Pretty darn bright. And then to turn it down, same thing, we just go the other way. So looks like we can go in 1% increments. So if I just slide slowly, you can see it going down slowly all the way to 0. So pretty cool. It's working pretty darn good. And we're going to have to see how this whole thing looks like in the water. I think that's about it, guys. That's it for the Nemo as far as on the table goes. We want to get this thing in the water. So the next part of the review will be me taking it out in my pool test. I always like to just run them in the pool first, just to make sure that they're going to work before we take it out in the ocean. And then we're going to do an ocean day dive and possibly a night dive as well, if I can get out there in some calm seas. And then we'll also have, when I get the actual physical controller, which they call the handle, I will do more reviews when I get that controller. So stay tuned, guys, for the water test for this guy. I hope you enjoyed that unboxing and initial setup. I like to look at these things really in depth and just see everything we get. And I hope I didn't miss anything, but thanks for watching. Don't forget the device here, everything I'm using and that's in this video always is down in the description down below. Click that description box and link to see what the pricing is and more in-depth specs. If you wanted to look at like all the specs on a spec sheet, go ahead and click that link down there and check it out. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the water test of the AquaRobotMan NEMO. Thanks for watching.